If you were going to ask somebody if they want to sell their house and can you be their realtor, that's a pretty tough decision for them to make. What is an easier question for somebody to say yes to? And in many cases, that easier question is, if you're ever interested, or I heard you're interested, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Well, it's easy to say yes to coffee, because if you have a chance to talk to them face to face, we're going to sign most of those people. The challenge, of course, for any professional service provider is getting that appointment, getting somebody to take the meeting. If we can do that, then we've got a good shot. You see, if somebody goes on Shark Tank and they say, who's your audience? And they say, everyone, right? They get annihilated. Mr. One goes down their throat because you don't have enough money to market to everyone. You don't have enough money to be the best choice for everyone. So for real estate professionals, if you can have a really clear idea in your mind, who is your ideal market? If these people really knew that I existed, that I'm good at this, and I'm good at this area, or this profession, or this income bracket, what's the best message to reach them? What are the best vehicles and venues to reach out to them and to be familiar with them? So I think it does start with real estate professional, that you have to decide who your target is and then be very visible for them. You don't have to be the best choice for everybody, but you need to be the best choice for your target market.
What up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. And this week, I want to start off with a short story. First off, when somebody's thinking about buying or selling a house for that matter, what do they typically do? I mean, let's even back that up. Somebody in their mind, all of a sudden now they have to move for any reason. It could be relocation, it could be downsizing, it could be upsizing, right? It could be maybe they're behind on their mortgage, they can't afford the house anymore. It doesn't really matter what the reason is. They have to either buy or sell. So what does the average person do? What do 9 out of 10 people do? Exactly. They go to Google, right? They go on Google and they type in any zip code. We use my zip code 01505, right? They type in the zip code and what happens? All these websites pop up, right? And typically the ones at the top, right? Because we all know that most people don't even look beyond the third choice, but typically all these sites pop up, right? And at the top is usually what? Zillow, Realtor.com, Red, because why? Because they pay the most money to have that spot. So the consumer, they don't know any better. In their mind, they just see, okay, I'm looking for a house, I need to sell. I looked real estate up, and these are the choices I have, right? So in their mind, they're making the best choice they can based on the information they have, and they select one, right? And then they end up maybe clicking on Zillow, and what happens is a realtor calls, right? And okay, great, they've connected with a realtor, right? They don't even know any better. In their mind, Zillow may be the realtor, right? This is one of the challenges we're having in our industry as real estate agents. And listen, guys, it's going to get a lot worse, because what you're going to realize soon is that Amazon, as well as a lot of venture capitalists are coming into real estate because they want our listings, my friend. So that said, the question here, the real question is how do we get in front of this? And this is something that we've been talking about for months on my podcast episodes. And, today's guest, David Avrin, he's the marketing and visibility coach, and he talks about how people can stand out. So what I'm talking about is, how do you make it so that you're the choice before somebody even goes to Google and types in that search? Because reality is 90% of people are going to do that unless they know there's another way to do it. And I think if we go back to fundamentals of, connecting with our sphere of influence and all that, if we're doing that at a high level, then sure, we're going to capture some of that business. But as the internet, keeps evolving and more of these big giants want to get into real estate and take our business, we're going to have to get more and more purposeful with these types of things. This is a great interview, and Dave shares some amazing strategies on how we can become visible again, right? So how we can start taking that business back, becoming the local expert in our market. So because, and again, think about the consumer. They don't even know any better. And here's a challenge too. When they call 5 realtors, in their mind, they feel like everybody does the exact same thing. And Dave says, you know what? When everybody's good, then how the heck do people even know who to choose, right? So he teaches people how to become the best choice in their marketplace. Again, the best expert. It's no longer about being good, my friends, because everybody's good, right? In the internet world, everybody's good. It's about being visible. It's about being the best choice. We don't market. This is what David said. We don't market for the sale. We market for behavior. This is an absolute awesome interview. I really wanted to share that story so you understand the context. And we're going to be talking a lot more about this topic as we go into deeper and deeper interviews. And hey, listen, next week, my friends, Gary V is here with us. Yep, that's right. We have a full interview with Gary. Super pumped about that. But for today, really want you to understand and enjoy David and get what he's talking about, because this is it. We got to learn how to stand out again. And it may be as simple, literally, as calling your clients on a regular basis, getting back, door knocking. All the fundamental stuff is coming back. But anyway, I'll let Dave talk to you about that. You guys rock. I really hope you enjoy this interview. And actually, before that, I ask, do me a big favor. I need a big favor from you. Please, if you go subscribe to my podcast and give me a review, it really, really helps with my guests, especially now where I'm getting, higher end guests. It's been amazing, but your reviews are really make it super helpful for me to get the highest quality guests. And I've got my eyes on like James Altucher and just some other amazing guests like that I really need to get on my podcast. So anyway, that said, everybody that does a review, gives me a review. I don't care if you give me a terrible review if you want. Give me a review, email me, letting me know you gave a review. What I'm going to do is, out of the emails I get, I'm going to pick 3 of them, and next week, I'm going to read them on the air. Okay, so I'll give you guys some props on the air. All right, anyway, that said, you rock. Enjoy David Avrin. All right, hey masters, welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. Today I have with David Avrin, and David is the president of the Visibility Coach. And I actually met you at the Mass Association of Realtors convention just a couple months ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you killed it. You were the keynote.
It was a great group. Not only was it a good group, but it was a nice resort. It was nice to out there on sort of the beginning part of Cape Cod. I lived in Massachusetts when I was younger. In 3rd grade, I lived in Concord, Mass. I went to Henry David Thoreau Elementary School. Can you get more New England than Henry David Thoreau Elementary?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was a nice thing coming back to Massachusetts. But yeah, we had a chance to meet there, and I was one of the speakers for that conference. Talk marketing and branding. How do you stand out when everybody's good?
Yeah, you just did a phenomenal job. So that's why I wanted to make sure I got you on the show. So thanks for that. I'll go through your bio. I tend to butcher bios, but let me tell our listeners a little bit about you. You're one of the most in-demand business marketing customer experience speakers in the world today. You share content-rich, entertaining, hard-hitting, memorable presentations to enthusiastic audiences across North America and around the world. Recent presentation locations include Singapore, Bangkok, Melbourne, Brisbane, all over the world, man. Dubai. I'm going to jump forward a little bit. Your former CEO, group leader and business marketing firm owner, and insights have been featured on hundreds of broadcast media outlets and thousands of online and print publications around the world. He is also the author of 3 books, including It's Not Who You Know, It's Who Knows You, which is what you talked about at the presentation, what really caught my attention. And your new book, which is called Visibility Marketing, No Holds Barred, Truth About What It Takes to Grab Attention. And how important is that now in this world, my friend? And then Build Your Brand and Win New Business. So how was that, man? You're
right. You did butcher it, but nobody really cares.
It's all good. It's all good, man. So
it's what my assistant sent over. So
yeah. Well, thank you for spending time with us. That's the point.
Yeah.
All right. So let's jump into it, man. You help people building their brand, visibility, standing out. So talk to us about that. Like, what does that look like?
It's an interesting time. In yesteryear, you could compete on quality or commitment or trust or longevity today everybody's good. Everybody's good. Here's the thing: is the internet is largely responsible because the internet outs underperformers, doesn't it? Right? We have all of those vehicles and venues to share dissatisfaction with anybody. So we put it on Yelp and TripAdvisor and Rotten Tomatoes and Glassdoor. The reality is, even for realtors and others, you got to pass the test. Everybody can do the work. So instead of, as marketers, as we look to sell what we do, instead of talking about our competency, right? We tend to boast our quality and our commitment and our caring and our trust and our people and our customer service. And in all honesty, everybody's got that. And so what I really teach in both my speaking and my books and my consulting is, instead of focusing on your competency, tell me what you do better than others. Let's focus on your competitive advantages. So as I travel the world, and I'm heading to Singapore here in a couple of weeks, I talk about competitive advantage. How do we ferret out? How do we put sort of a magnifying glass to our business and find out, what do we do that's really unique? What do we do that's special? How do we position that and craft the wording and the verbiage around all that? And of course, promote the heck out of it. So it's a different time in business in that everybody's good. So instead of talking about what makes us good, we have to really make a compelling case for what makes us a better choice than all the other good choices.
So talk about that, because you're right. On the internet, where the consumer now, especially in the real estate world, they look online and they see all the realtors and they just kind of box us into, okay, I already know a realtor, right?
Right.
So how do you stand out? Like, how do we stand out?
You know what? It's interesting. There's sort of been a really interesting shift in the marketplace in the last 20, 30 years, and some even more recently. And it's not really the shift from agricultural to industrial or analog to digital. It's a shift from selling to buying. And here's what I mean. Yesteryear was sort of the age of the salesperson. For most of recorded history, we've really relied on salespeople to educate us about products and services and features and benefits. Today, we can do that ourselves. I mean, our access to information online and otherwise is unbelievable, right? It's profound. So today, like I said, it's less about sort of who can do it. And we tend to buy. Like, you walk down the aisles of the grocery store and nobody's there to sell you anything. You can go to your grocery store, you can go big box and Sam's Club and Costco and Target. Add the internet, you've multiplied it by 100,000 products and services. And in most cases, nobody is there to sell it to you. You go and you buy. So we have to be very conscious of how, whether it's a prospective home buyer or a home seller, how are they looking for a resource to help them do that? In many cases, they're looking online. In many cases, they're asking friends, or they're driving their neighborhood and looking who's got the most signs. And so when all things are equal, then we tend to go for some low-hanging fruit. Who's the most familiar? Who's close by? There's a real danger in that for real estate professionals and almost any business, is that we're abdicating that decision based on things that are out of our control. You know, if somebody recommends us, that's great. We might encourage those recommendations. But are we taking a really active role to promote what we do? And not just what we do, but what makes us better than others. So it's the events that they attend. I mean, think about your core audience. What do they watch? What do they read? Where do they recreate and congregate and dine? Are you where they are? I look at it this way. We would paint our building a bright color, right? We'd hire a high school kid to dress as a clown and wave at cars. And it was all about, look at us, where we are. Now, visibility marketing, which is the name of my new book, is about being visible where they are and the events that they're attending and the blogs that they're reading and the YouTube channels. When they go and look, are you findable? Are you first page? What is it that someone who might be looking for a realtor or to sell their house, what would they search? And are you one of those that's at least even in the running? One of the best resources. No, go ahead.
I know. I want to get into that. And, I want to back up a little bit, though, because, you talked about the shift from selling to buying. And, how do people, you said people typically go with what's familiar or what's close, right? So because like a buyer starts on the internet, they may go on a site and all of a sudden 10 real estate agents pop up. So how do they differentiate? Like, how do they decide who they're going to choose?
Well, I think it starts with the provider themselves. I mean, how do you want to be seen? You got to specialize in something. You have to be a better choice instead of saying, I do all of this. Well, stand in line. There's hundreds and hundreds of others who do all of that. So as a real estate professional, maybe they specialize in a particular geographic area, in a particular neighborhood, so they can target in that. I remember in my old neighborhood, we had a woman who was a really aggressive realtor. And of course, if we're looking for a realtor, we want somebody who's nice and aggressive. But she was so visible in that community that it wasn't, her or anyone else. It was her, because she was the one that not only had most of the signs in the neighborhood, she sponsored the neighborhood picnic every summer. She sponsored the neighborhood garage sale. She would come and knock on the doors probably 3 times a year and just saying, here, you and I remember back in the old days, they'd hand out calendars. And we had those paper calendars that we would put on the refrigerator or something else. And that all came from the realtors because they knew you had to look at it almost every day. Well, we don't do that anymore because we have our calendars on our phones. So how can we be visible? Or are you volunteering for the committees or the homeowners association or the PTA? So you can specialize in proximity. You can specialize in a particular market segment, income bracket, psychographics, demographics. If you only want to specialize in homes that are above $2-3 million, well, who are the people that own those homes? And what are the events that they're attending? And the committees that they're serving on? And maybe it's the Children's Hospital, foundation, or a fundraiser for some event, or almost anything, right? If it's CEOs,
it's getting out there. It's getting out in the community and making yourself, making people aware of you through doing things beyond just talking about selling real estate, right?
But I think it's also being targeted. I think this is really important. You see, if somebody goes on Shark Tank and they say, "Who's your audience?" and they say everyone, right? They get annihilated. Mr. One goes down their throat because you don't have enough money to market to everyone. You don't have enough money to be the best choice for everyone. So for real estate professionals, if you can have a really clear idea in your mind, who is your ideal market? If these people really knew that I existed, that I'm good at this, that I'm good at this area or this profession or this income bracket, what's the best message to reach them? What are the best vehicles and venues to reach out to them and to be familiar with them? I think it does start with a real estate professional that you have to decide who your target is and then be very visible for them. You don't have to be the best choice for everybody, but you need to be the best choice for your target market.
I think it's really a hyper-local business, and you want to be the expert in your market. And I'm going to jump into your book. Here's listen to my big takeaway, dude. Are you telling me I shouldn't be sending out those magnets anymore? I'm just those calendars that go on the refrigerator.
You know what? Here's the fun. No, it's a different calendars, probably not, but magnets. It's kind of funny. I was reading an article that magnets are actually making a nice comeback because nobody does them anymore, right? We used to have what we call the Metropolitan Refrigerator of Art. Right? All the kids' pictures and everything on the fridge, and they aren't doing it much. You know what else is making a comeback? You'll find this interesting. Door hangers.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that.
Because people don't do them. They were sold the line that don't spend money on printing because you're just going to get lost. You can quadruple the amount of people you're going to reach and just do it online. Well, our old mailbox used to be filled with junk mail. It isn't anymore. Now our email box is filled with spam. Sometimes the opportunities are going back to the places where your competitors no longer are. And we used to come back to our front door and it was just loaded with door hangers and there's bags with flyers and we don't see that much anymore. Conversely, it's actually effective once again.
No, you're absolutely right. It's funny too, because going back years, I'd list houses. At the end, I'd have like 6 realtors magnets on the refrigerator and I'd have to go pull the magnets off. And I'd make a joke out of it. But the reality is, I think people just they get so many of them, they don't even notice them anymore. It just kind of blends in, right, with the whole refrigerator. All right, so let's switch gears now, and let's talk about your book, Visibility Marketing. Talk to us about the book. What's the essence of the book?
The essence of the book was to really highlight what's changed in the marketplace and that we can no longer rely on competency marketing. But it's also about recognizing the changes. How do we convince people that we're a better choice? How are we seen in a marketplace where everybody's good, where competition is vast? And so I try to make it very user-friendly. And for those who have seen me speak, they can hear my voice. And there's a lot of humor. And I tell some fun stories, but I talk about how do we upsell? How do we look for those behaviors that are really predictive of success? So it's a much more strategic book than it is a tactical one, though we talk about tactics. I'll give you an example. There's a whole chapter talking about saying don't market for the sale itself. Market for the behavior that leads to the sale. And here's what I mean. If you were going to ask somebody if they want to sell their house and can you be their realtor, that's a pretty bold question and a pretty tough decision for them to make. What is an easier question for somebody to say yes to? And in many cases, that easier question is, if you're ever interested, or I heard you're interested, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Well, it's easy to say yes to coffee. Because once you have that conversation, and I ask audiences all the time, it doesn't even matter the profession, but I say, can you not convert the lion's share of prospects that you can get in front of? If you have a chance to talk to them face to face, we're going to sign most of those people. The challenge, of course, for any professional service provider, whether it be accountants or financial or legal or real estate, is getting that appointment, getting somebody to take the meeting. If we can do that, then we've got a good shot because we're good at, you're people listening right now, you're good at what you do. You just need more opportunities.
Yeah.
So I would say gear your marketing to achieve that small victory. Get them to agree to copy. You know who's really good at this? Geico Insurance. Think about it. You watch the commercials for Geico, and they almost never ask you to buy insurance because that's a tough question because you're saying, do you want to go through all your finances? Do you want to extract yourself from your current provider? Do we want to worry about whether or not we have to change your automatic payments? So it's just a pain. So they ask you one question that's really easy for you to ask. They only want one thing. What does Geico want? They want 15 minutes. Because 15 minutes might save you 15% or more on car insurance. Because the reality is if they get you on the phone, they've got you. Because they can probably save you money. They're really good at what they do. But all they ask for is a simple yes. If they ask you to switch insurance, that's a tough thing to say yes to. But 15 minutes, we can all do that. Right? I speak for a living. Nobody's going to hire me who hasn't seen me speak. Right? So we have a really clear goal for my staff in my office here at Visibility International. The people who hire me are meeting planners. They're putting on a big annual convention for a particular industry or a profession in Vegas or somewhere else. If we can get that meeting planner to go to my website and just click on that video in the center of the screen, right there at the home screen, it's 12 minutes of me speaking all over the world. I'm in Singapore and Dubai and Johannesburg and London. If they'll watch that video, I got a really good shot at getting the gig because it's good. You know, like most of you, we're good at what we do. So if we can get a meeting planner to click on that video, I got a good shot. If they don't click on that video, I have almost zero chance unless they've seen me somewhere else before. So in our marketing, that's sort of our North Star. And we ask the question, we'll say, okay, that's a great idea. Is it more likely to get a meeting planner to click on that video? And if it isn't, we don't do it. Honestly, we don't have unlimited resources. We have a small staff. So everything we do with marketing, it has to lead to a meeting planner going to the site and clicking on that video. So our emails have a very simple link to click on the video. Our brochures have a call to action. The little 1-minute marketing things that we put out on the internet gets them to the site. So we work hard on being visible. We work very hard on a clear call to action because we know what works. And that's the kind of things that I talk about. It's some very practical advice. I talk about upselling. I talk about just ways to stand out. And what's really kind of fun is that at the end of every chapter is an exercise. It's not school, but it's basically saying get together with your team and pull out a piece of paper and ask these hard questions and then brainstorm things together. Because when I do consulting work and I work with organizations and I come in for like a full day, I'm the guy that believes that the answers are in the room.
Yeah.
But people, you guys on this every day. Sometimes you need a kick in the butt. Sometimes you need a reminder that we cannot be complacent because there are competitors. And I tell this to audiences all the time, Dave. There's competitors who are trying to steal your money. They're trying to take away your ability to pay your staff and your mortgage and feed your family and send your kids to college. It's not personal. They're just trying to feed their family and send their kids to college and pay their mortgage. So we have to be a better choice than the other good choices. The good news is I think there's enough work for everybody, especially for those who are willing to work hard. Treat yourself like a client and sit down and brainstorm ideas and how can we be seen. And then, of course, the verbiage is very important. If we just talk like everybody else is talking, and the things that we talk about are great experience and are, not that those things are unimportant, they're just no longer special.
Yeah.
It's not the stuff we lead with. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Everything you just said a lot of really good stuff. And I think what I'm taking for our listeners is we really need to stand out. And also, you talked a lot of purpose in what you do. So everything you do, that sounds like there's a purpose in it, right? You're not just kind of throwing stuff at the wall, but you're asking for meetings, what you're putting on social media, all that stuff. There's a reason for it. And it's like you said earlier, you don't want to sell people anymore. You want people to buy, right? So it's more of an attraction. Is that accurate? Am I saying that right?
Well, it's part of it. I think people will buy regardless. I mean, they're looking. Now but
people don't want to be sold. I mean, nobody wants to be sold anymore, but they want to buy.
Right. Well, I think we can influence it. And I think we can influence it by presenting a better choice because they're going to look you up. I talk to audiences. I say, we look up everything. I tell them, raise your hand. I said, how many of you will go online and before you make a final hiring decision, you got a new candidate in your office, before you make that final hiring decision, how many of you go online and look them up? Look them up on LinkedIn, look them up on social media. And normally about 2/3 of hands, I'm like, you're crazy if you don't. Everybody will look you up. They talk to somebody on the phone, they think they sound attractive and they look them up, right? We're looking up old high school flames. And I mean, everybody does it.
Yeah.
So the question is, are you very strategic in making sure that they like what they find? And that comes from doing sort of an introspective. You're right, people do go by, but we're the ones who are in control of what they find.
What they find, what
and
they
so
see.
I tell people, imagine you're a prospect and you're going to start Googling and looking. Pretend you're that prospect and start looking. Who comes up in that search? Are you coming up? Our competitors? Go to their sites. What do they look like? What do you look like? Because this is the comparison that your prospects are doing. Even if somebody refers you, they're going to look you up first. Do they like what they find? Is the picture outdated? Does it look contemporary? Is your verbiage not just informative, but is it persuasive? Is it differentiated from what your competitors do? There's a great exercise that I talk about. I say, take all of the promotional materials you have about your business, everything you have written about yourself, your sales sheets, your brochures, your catalogs, whatever it is that you have, your ads online and your website pages, print everything off and spread it out on a giant conference room table. Then take all the promotional material for all of maybe your top 2 or 3 competitors. Do some secret shopping, look them up. What do you find? Print all of that up and mix it up with yours. And then grab your team, if you have a team, and give everybody a highlighter and walk around the room playing a game I call buzzword bingo. I mean, just start highlighting all of the things that they say about themselves. Over 250 years of combined experience, we really listen to our clients and we tailor our solutions to meet their individual needs. I mean, all this crap that everybody says. You will be stunned. You'll be stunned at how similar your material, your site looks to your competitors, especially the words. Now imagine I'm your prospect. How am I deciding if you're saying the same things? So the part that I think we have control over, Dave, is we know they're going to look. We have to be clear where they're going to find us, and we have to really spend some time. And when I say time, spend a day. We're very busy in our business. How much time do we spend on ourselves? Hyperanalyze the words that you're using. Do you have a great headline? Do you have a reasonable tagline? I think the headline's more important than the tagline. Are you looking for a blank? Or are you tired of, because here's the other thing, and I know I'm jumping around. We have to make a compelling case, not just that we're a better choice than other realtors, for those who are realtors. There are people who are contending that you don't need realtors at all. Right? There's sites online. I spoke to a giant group of insurance professionals in Vancouver, Canada, last week. And I'm like, I'm seeing commercials every day that saying we don't need you at all. How do you justify your expertise? How do you justify your commission structure? Because that commission structure cannot be assumed. It has to be earned. And you have to justify on the front end, why am I going to pay 4, 5, 6%? Well, because I'm going to get a lot more with a professional who knows the area, who can help guide me through the tumultuous waters of this kind of a transaction. Because there's those who are trying to convince you can do this online, you can do this yourself. I think the industry is under attack.
Yeah.
And so I think the words we use to describe what we do are crucial.
What up, Masters? I'm going to get you right back to the show. I want to share a couple opportunities with you. First off, my new training program I'm super pumped about. People have been asking me for years, guys. It's School for Realtors. It's an expired training. I'm giving you everything, my friends, every single thing that you're going to need to convert expired sellers in this competitive time. All right, I have every single script you're going to need. From the initial conversation, how to keep people from hanging up on you, to the closing script, right? We're giving you a copy of our pre-listing packet. I'm giving you emails that you can literally copy and paste templates. I'm giving you a 65-day email campaign, guys, that you literally copy and paste. Expired flyers, okay, 2 different marketing pieces. And we're giving you actual ads that you can use on Facebook. Guys, these are targeted ads that I've been using on Facebook where I'm generating people calling me and saying, hey, I see you guys everywhere. Yeah, why don't you come over and take a look at my house? So I'm giving you everything. This is called Expired School for Realtors. Simply go to schoolforrealtors.com, costs you $149. I wanted to make this such a no-brainer because it's going to be the best investment you will ever make in your real estate business for $149. And here's a better thing. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So at the end, if you said, you know what, Dave, I just didn't get value in your expired training, then I'm going to give you your $149 back, and you still have all my materials. So how's that work, right? You can't go wrong. Listen, everything is here, everything you need. And here's the last thing. We have a monthly call. You're part of an awesome community where everybody in the community has the same goals, okay? You're sharing things that work with each other. And I am logging in monthly and doing a live training for everybody. You have role play partners. Listen, this is everything you need. It's so simple. You go to schoolforrealtors.com, you get to download, and then you just start downloading. And I even made it step by step by step. All right, that said, awesome opportunity for you. And then finally, and we're going to get you back to the show, I promise, if you love audiobooks or if you love podcasts, you need to check out Audible. Audible.com is Amazon's audiobook site. You can get yourself a copy of Crushing It or any book you want. I would encourage Crushing It for free by going to davidsfreebook.com. Again, davidsfreebook.com. Get yourself a free copy of any audiobook you want on Audible. Yes, they're going to ask you for a credit card, but here's what you're going to do. As long as you cancel within 30 days, your credit card will never be billed. So schedule a reminder in your calendar 25 days out. And if for some reason you don't love the service, then you cancel and your card's never, ever charged. And you get to keep the book. Guys, listen, these are opportunities. How do you go wrong with either of these opportunities? Okay, listen, you rock. I just want to share that with you. So a couple opportunities. Schoolforrealtors.com and davidsfreebook.com. Enjoy the rest of the show. The industry's definitely changing, right? You said earlier, like, everybody's good. And the reason I bring this up, Dave, is because my team does a lot of prospecting. I have team members that cold call, and they'll call someone and they'll give statistics, or they'll say, you know, hey, we're the number one agent in blah, blah, blah. And the seller's going to say, well, no, everybody says that. Everybody that I talk to says they're number one. So when you're dealing with that, how does somebody, I guess the better question is, why is somebody even saying that?
Well, here's the hard part, and this is the hard truth, is that you have no control over what somebody else says. So the question is, what can you control? Now, you can either highlight the parts for you that are stronger. You can correct misperceptions. I mean, look at the TV. Look at the commercials for the cell phone carriers. It's Verizon and T-Mobile and AT&T. Do you ever notice that they're all number one? You just use different criteria. So I think you guys have an opportunity to call out some misinformation. You know, listen, others may say they're number one. We're number one in the statistics that are important to you. We list and sell more houses than our next three competitors combined, whatever that might be. You know, if someone says, okay, they might be number one from 5th Street between Grant and Huron, but we've done more X and Y, and right. So you decide for yourself what you want to counter and what you don't. But one of the frustrating things about business today is we have no control over what competitors say, and we are always subject to potential misinformation and disinformation online. Yesteryear, anybody in business, you work very, very hard to keep your customers happy. And you'll bend over backwards, but at some point, they're just not going to be happy. You got to write them off. Today, you can't write anybody off. So they can go on online rants forever, for days. There's firms that exist. Their entire business structure is just posting enough positive things to push the negative things down because it never goes away. One positive about that, Dave, is that your competitors are facing the same environment. It's not unique to you. Everybody is facing the same really changing and challenging dynamic.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, there's about 10% of people that are going to work with us just because they know us, they're our fans, we have relationships. There's 10% of people that will probably never work with us no matter what we do. But then there's that big chunk of people in the middle. And right. And I think that's where the great opportunity is. And I love your exercise as well. I want everybody to really go take advantage of that. I know I'm gonna do that with my team and make a day out of that. That sounds like a really great thing to do. So let me ask you this. I mean, going back, you've been doing this for a lot of years. Going back 20 years, I think the difference between today is obvious. I mean, you tell me. But I'd also like to go back. What's the difference between 5 years? So we'll go 20 years and then 5 years. And then I'd love to get your picture of what you think it's going to be 5 years from now.
Well, it's a great question. 20 years ago, we really relied on our experienced professional service providers. We needed their insight. We needed their expertise. We needed their time. We needed their guidance. 5 years ago, or even 5 to 10 years ago, we started discovering that we could do a lot of research on our own and that we didn't need them for basic information anymore. And in almost any industry, right? We used to walk into a car dealership 10 years ago. We'd look across the showroom, we'd see a cool car, and then we'd get inside and we'd play with the knobs. But then we would motion the salesperson over. We'd invite him over and say, so tell us about this car. We don't do that anymore. We don't do that at all anymore. So the thing that's profoundly changed, and as recently as 5 years ago, is that there's so much that we can do on our own, and that we do because we don't want to get screwed. We don't want to get taken. That's a lot of our, we look for bad reviews. If there's a new restaurant, we'll bypass 20 great reviews. We'll focus in on 3 people that were unhappy and read them. We'll think, I don't want to take a chance. So instead of looking for the best deal today, I think in many cases we're looking to avoid having a bad experience, avoid somebody, because we can sort of find out ahead of time if somebody's not very good. So that's where I think we are today. And so I think it's really incumbent upon professional service providers to not just provide great experience and great service and great knowledge. That's retention. The challenge, of course, is acquiring new customers. So it's making all of that knowledge and experience and expertise and value known before somebody does business with you. And we do that with video. We do that with YouTube videos. We do that with testimonials. We do that with before and after pictures. We do it with being very visible with online posts or memes or whatever else. Sometimes we can win on visibility, but what they see has got to be significant. Now, here's your question. What's it like 5 years from now? I think 5 years from now, I think we're going to see a continuation of some significant disruption. And here's what I mean. New models that completely change how we do business, that are taking many by complete surprise. I guarantee you the tens of thousands of taxi drivers around the country didn't foresee that every car on the road would become a taxi with Uber and Lyft. I mean, that's disruption. We don't need them for a ride. We can get a ride from anybody. I guarantee you that the hotel industry didn't see everybody's house is now a hotel. So I think the disruption that comes from traditional professional service or professional service provider facilitated transactions, I think those are going to diminish significantly. I think there's going to be alternative models where you can do it yourself. You can do it through one central aggregator source. I don't think it's going to go away, but I think the things that they do are going to change to justify their fee and their existence. Yeah. Here's an odd analogy. Back in the 50s and 60s, there was a lot of fire prevention and education and fireproof materials for buildings, and kids were taught fire safety. And subsequently, fires went down dramatically. There's far fewer home fires than there were 30 years ago. The firefighters, to justify their existence and their pay, they reformulated who they were. Now they position themselves as first responders, medical. That wasn't always the case. Now most of the work that firefighters do has nothing to do with fires. We are first responder medical because they're strategically placed throughout the community. They had to redefine who they were and where their value was. I think this is coming. I think it's coming to financial planners. I think it's coming for real estate, insurance salespeople, and to an extent, legal as well. I think we've already seen that with some of the other resources. So anyway, there's my long answer to your short question, but we're going to keep seeing change. I think we've seen it from other industries, and it's coming.
I think you're just spot on with that, and I see it. A lot of us already see it starting to happen, and I agree. The solution right now is the visibility, as well as really offering that higher level experience for people out there. So that said, kind of in getting wrapping up here, anything that I should have asked you, David, that I didn't ask? Anything I missed?
David, I think you should have asked where my book is available, Visibility. my response would have been,
there you go.
on it's everywhere. It's on Amazon. It's on audiobook. It's on Kindle. So visibility marketing, it's an easy read. It's a fun read and gives you great ideas. And of course, if you want to know more about me and my speaking, if you want me to come and speak to your organization, I love doing real estate, state real estate organizations. My website is visiblyinternational.com.
Got it, man. Well, good stuff, man. I was going to ask you those questions you got in front of me, so that's good stuff.
Hey, I'm a marketing guy. Is what I do.
You're a professional, man. You're a pro. So listen, here's the last question, man. And this is for our listeners. I mean, you gave us some great information today. I really hope everybody listens to this thing and takes notes and implements it. I mean, the key is implementation. But if everybody had to break this down and say, okay, I'm going to take one thing from this interview today, what would that one thing you want everybody to walk away with be?
I think the one thing is you can't be complacent. In yesteryear, being really good at what you do was a great competitive advantage. And today, it's the entry fee. It gives you permission. You have to be really good to compete with everybody else. But the way to really thrive in this and almost any business is you have to be a better choice and than all the other good choices. And it's up to you to to ferret out those differentiators, create the verbiage behind it, and promote the heck out of it. So it's no longer about being qualified and being good. It's about being a better choice and being more visible.
Good stuff, man. I don't know that. Was that your bell in the background going off? You cooking? That's cooking something?
That's my son texting me. So
all right, good stuff. Well, listen, hey, I appreciate it. It was fun talking to you, man. I love disruption. So we got to get together again in the future and have just a conversation about disruption because I just love that topic.
Would love to do so. Have a great day. Thank you.
Masters, if you know me, you know health and nutrition is number one, and that's why I'm an advisor for AdvoCare products. Listen, in my opinion, these are the best products on the planet, guys. You get what you're supposed to get, right? I use the products for health. I use the products for energy. I use the products for wellness. So we have all the different lines from Spark, starting your day with a great energy shot, all the way to pre-workout. It's whatever your goals are, right? It's whatever your goals are. You can check out the products at www.livelongersmarter.com. That's my website. Or reach out to me, and I'd love to have a 30-minute or, anywhere from 15 to 30-minute conversation with you, just talking about your health and nutrition goals and what I can do to help you achieve those goals. So again, products, energy line, or wellness line, whether it's joints, you're getting up there in the age, you just want to take care of yourself. I'll tell you, one of the greatest compliments I get is people, you say, wow, you look amazing. I cannot believe you are the age you are. Weight loss. I've helped lots of people, guys, lose weight, not just lose it, but keep it off with the products. And the cool thing is, I'd say 75% of the people who start with our products, they continue using our products even after they initially tried them, which has been amazing. And strength, if you're into bodybuilding, then hey, Rich Fronin, okay? I don't know if you know who Rich Fronin is. He's an advocate for AdvoCare as well. So amazing products. You can see us. We're featured on NASCAR, professional soccer, college basketball, college football, Men's Health magazine last month. These are the real deal, guys. livelongersmarter.com is the website, or reach out to me if you, like I said, if you want to have a personal conversation with me, just send me an email. In the subject line, just put AdvoCare products, and I'd love, like I said, schedule a 15 to 30-minute call with you to talk about your health and nutrition goals. Guys, you rock. Live longer, smarter. And as Gary Keller eloquently said, if you don't take care of your body, where are you gonna live? You rock.
You are listening to One More Sale with your host, David I. Hill, author of the Sales Playbook. Get your copy at www.thesalesplaybook.net.